Hi, I'm Lou, another episode of My Car Story. And today we've got a early Porsche, very early Porsche, and I'm with Kevin Murray. Kevin, good to see you again.
See you again, Lou.
How are you? Kevin, what did we bring out today?
Well, today I've got another car from my collection. It's a 1954 Pre A Porsche 356 Coupe. These are pretty rare cars. They only built about 900 of them in 1954. About 800 of them were coupes. This is before speedsters were even in the lineup. And for purposes I'll tell you later, is there are probably under 50 of these cars left in the world.
Let's take a look. So, Kevin, too, come on alongside me as I ask you some questions. Why this car? Oh, first of all, how'd you get this car? When did you first come across this car?
I was in 1977. I wanted a Porsche, but I have sort of a, should we say a Volkswagen budget, as it were. So the only Porsche I could afford, I couldn't afford a real one. A real one's 911. A friend told me he had this project 356 I'd never heard of before. Went and looked at it, and it was the ugliest car that I've ever seen in my life. But it was a Porsche.
What color was it?
It was baby poop brown. and that's giving it the benefit of the doubt, because
we're keeping it G-rated.
It was painted with a paintbrush.
With
all sorts of streaks and everything else taken apart.
God.
And I bought it, put it back together, and took it to my first car show with it. And on the way home, well, it won the prize for the worst Porsche there. And on the way home,
won the prize for the worst Porsche?
For the worst looking Porsche at the show. And
what were you actually thinking when they gave you that award?
Hey, I got a Porsche.
All right. Okay.
So, and on the way home, one of the carburetors backfired and caught fire. So I had to put it out the only way I know how to, and the only thing I had at hand was a bottle of Diet Coke. So I shoved it in the carburetor, put the fire out, got it home, and at that point it was like, okay, let's take it apart and maybe kind of get this thing running a little bit better. So that leads us to the second part of why it's special, is that it's the test of my marriage.
Oh my gosh.
I had a one-car garage, a wife, no children yet, but we had this car that was ugly and always taken apart. And I was trying to restore it, didn't know what I was doing.
You didn't have kids, then you had
no
kids.
We had it, but our cars were always parked outside.
Yeah.
And my beast was parked in the garage.
Because it was apart.
It was that's right. So my wife had the baby, first baby, our son, and as I say, it was the test of the marriage, because it's really difficult when you have a baby in one hand and the ice scraper in the other, and you're trying to get your car ready to go, wherever they had to go, baby swim lessons, wherever the heck.
Yeah.
So over all those years, I kept the car, and I did one restoration that was okay looking.
It's obviously not baby poop brown anymore.
No, it was painted red, but it looked like the love child of Tammy Faye Baker.
Okay, all right,
and
yeah.
Stevie Wonder. So
big bumble or big ladybug coming down the road.
It was something. Yeah, it was kind of a little wavy, but and then about maybe 10 years ago, these cars started going up a little bit in price, where I could sort of afford a paint job.
Yeah.
And I decided, what the heck, I'll strip it. So I stripped it down to bare metal. That leads us to that brown paint job that I told you about before. Is that there was no rust on this car.
That is awesome.
For a 1954 car, this car was not intended to last as long as it did.
Yeah, let me kind of show the car while you're talking. Keep going. So
anyway,
talk about it. Go ahead.
I did a nut and bolt restoration on this car.
Yourself?
Myself. And I'll also point out that I'd gathered all the parts I needed that were worn out or needed replacement over those years that I owned it.
Yeah.
And most of the restoration parts that were used for this car were actually NOS Porsche parts when they liquidated their parts inventories for the 356.
Wow. Tell me about this right here.
This is pretty rare item. There's no vent windows on this car.
Yeah.
But this was an option. These are super rare. But basically the car becomes so hot if you don't have the ANCO vent windows on.
Yeah.
So I had the original ones, but I cut new plastics and then polished them so that they looked appropriate.
I like the windshield. The windscreen is really defined too. It's got a little bend right in the center.
I've mentioned that there's a Pre A.
Yeah.
In 51 and 52, there's a split window.
Go ahead. Before we go too far, I got to finish the other story. So your wife, what does she think about the car now?
She likes it.
Okay, all right. All right, very good. All right. So the marriage is intact.
Oh,
all right, good. We had a good story. Okay, come on back.
So,
tell me about the windshield. Go ahead.
The windshield, If you'd bought one in 51 or 52, it would have had a post down the center of the windshield and 2 sheets of glass.
Okay.
In 53 and 54 only, in just the very beginning part of 55, they had what was called a bent window, and you can see an extreme bend in the center of that windshield. When they went to the A cars in 56,
Let's take a look at that. Go ahead.
when they went to the A cars in 56, it's a smooth radius.
Okay.
And one of the things if you're a Porsche aficionado, you'll notice is that the window wiper, they roll together at the top because you couldn't have a center post and be able to sweep it in the original cars.
Yeah.
In the A cars, they sweep back and forth from the same side.
Got it. Good to know. So yeah, you could definitely, we're hitting the light the right way. I think you'd see that bend in there. All right, beautiful. All right, let's even like the little emblem there in the mirror and the let's open up the interior for a moment. I'm noticing the back windows have a pull out.
We can pull that out for you.
Yeah, sure. Reminds me of a little Volkswagen bus-like, but of course,
Exactly.
very nice. Kevin, how tall are you? 6 feet?
I'm 6 foot.
Stay right next to it for a second. I want people to kind of get the idea of. You got to kind of bend into it a little bit. I mean, you're about halfway into that car.
But this car is extremely comfortable to drive.
Just the little pieces here. So this is the manufacturing number. What is that? The
That's
serial number?
The serial number for the car, 52876. And some of the things I'll point out on the dashboard, which are really unique to this car, is that first of all,
Come on and talk.
First of all,
people
the
hear
turn signal is actually a flasher on the end of the stalk, 1 year only. And instead of having a starter key that starts the car, it has a starter button. You'll notice on the right side of the dash.
Oh, okay, right there.
The instruments are hooded, and that's characteristic of the Pre A's. In terms of the, I'm going to reach up above you here. We've got these transparent sun visors. Again, very early characteristics.
And the top of this is spectacular.
And a surge top. It's not vinyl. And then the one last thing I'll point out is the radio. The radio is a Telefunken radio from the car. It's been rebuilt by my friend at Motorola, but it's an AM shortwave, longwave radio.
Wow.
And it works. At night, I can tune into Radio Free Europe or whatever
You're
radio
kidding.
signal
You get
that
Europe out of this?
I can get anywhere on.
Unbelievable.
But it has to be after dark.
After dark. Okay. That's crazy. Let's open up the engine compartment. Do the Germans also call it a boot, or is that just more of an English
I
thing?
think that's an English thing.
All right. So this is the engine bay.
It's a 4-cylinder pancake, very similar to a Volkswagen. But a Volkswagen might have had 24 horse, and this had more like 60.
That's a big difference. That's a big difference. Let's start her up. You got carbs on both sides too, I noticed. That's where the 60 comes from. Just a little gas. I want to hear a little of that rev up. That whole 60 horses, maybe 48 of them.
They're straining.
Yeah.
I might be tired today.
Great. All right, let's shut her down. That was great.
And there's not a lot of room in the trunk of this either. And it might be regarded as the opposite of the safety car, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah. You do fit pretty well in there.
It's actually a very comfortable car to drive.
Looks like a fun car to drive too.
As I say, it's a safety car because you don't have to worry about your insurance claim. If you do get in a front-end accident, any damage you have to your body is going to be taken care of with a gas dripping on your legs.
with the blow up following it, little pre-blow. I see there's a gate, or there's something here. I just want to get that too.
There's a little plate in there somewhere. I don't know if you can even see
I think
it.
I can. what'll happen is the high def will help us. Oh, that's great. I love that. Any other plates I need to know? Tell me about this. This is like a little rattan or something.
Well, there's the original plate, the body plate here, 52876, which is the actual Reutter coach number, the body number.
And then you've got like, it's almost like a
this plate
rattan,
here?
No, the floor mat, almost like.
Yes, it's the same for Pre A again.
Yeah.
It's only in Pre A's, but the carpets and the interior matches the carpets in the well here.
What was this box now that you mentioned it? What was that?
The steering box is underneath.
Oh, the steering
there.
box. Got it. All right, so that made it easy. Then I see that there's a number there.
Yeah, now this is a converted to an electrical one.
Yeah.
The original, you can see the gas tank.
So you actually have to pop the top. This is where you put your gas.
Exactly. And
Got
one
it.
of the cars, one of the foibles of a 356, for anybody who's interested in buying one, is you want to look at the hinges, because the way you open and close this car is you lift the hinge
Okay.
to come over center, and then it'll drop off. Lift it up, let it settle down, and it locks. But you get a boisterous mechanic or a boisterous gas station
Yeah.
attendant at some point, and they'll lean
Oh.
on it trying to get it to
Oh,
close.
no.
And you can see these corners get buckled.
Ah, okay.
So,
Good to know. And actually, that's something you need to explain to people if they ever pick up something like that. Was good to know for our viewers.
I see someone trying to move this.
Yeah, and
they
you're like,
get a
oh,
little nervous.
wait. All right, so pick it up and then it comes down. Show us one more time.
Pick it up.
Yep. And it comes right down.
Hands drop.
Beautiful. Kevin, stand right next to her. Well, Kevin, I'm so glad that everything's worked out with you and your wife over this car. And obviously, what another great story for My Car Story. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Lou.